Thank you. Well, with that introduction, that takes out most of my first beginning part here. So we're going to jump right into, I believe that everyone should have access to the potential benefits of music. And so as a music therapist, engagement is really at the core of my work, and engaging with our communities and bringing music to our communities. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I've been fortunate to be a collaborator with a network of researchers here at the university who are really interested in community-based arts engagement experiences for older adults in northern Colorado. Music is something that connects us. It can bring us together. We know, where'd my stand go? There we go. We know that singers' heart rates and respiratory rates actually synchronize when they are singing together. We know that endorphins are released when people engage in making music. And so this is at the core of the project I want to tell you about today. I'm going to be sharing, the project was called Melody Lane, and it was a collaborative effort between myself and the Volunteers of America here in Fort Collins, the northern branch. And they have a Caring Companion program, which is coordinated by Diane Cohn, and she was my collaborator throughout this. And the Caring Companion program matches volunteers with community-dwelling older adults to provide companionship visits. And the Melody Lane Project was interested in training and supporting volunteers in leading music companionship visits. So, companionship care, there's 3 core components: connection, emotional support, and socialization. Music can do all of this. And in fact, a definition for music companionship is the synchronization of music between 2 individuals. And so that's the core of the Melody Lane Project. We knew that we needed music that would be familiar and that would be preferred for our participants. We knew we needed multiple ways to engage with music because not everyone is as open and flexible as you all just were in singing. So we said, okay, what about music listening? What about moving to music? What about singing? And we knew that the volunteer companions needed to have the autonomy and the freedom to do what they were comfortable with, to mold things based on what the participants that they were, working with and visiting with wanted to have happen. And so we invited them to take our materials and use them as a start, but then go where felt comfortable for them. So, but would it work? This is always a question. Will it work? It sounded like a great idea. We got the funding in the height of the COVID pandemic. So we needed to create social connection when people were not in the same room as each other. Via Zoom, which has not been known to be real great for music. So we wanted to know, is this even feasible? So is volunteer-led music companionship visits, are those feasible in both the virtual and the in-person environment? We got to have some of both. And then if it is feasible, what are possible outcomes that we might be interested in for all of the individuals involved in this type of interaction? So we actually had 8 volunteer participant dyads that did engage in at least 5 in-person or virtual music companionship visits. You can see here that the volunteers ranged in age from 28 to 80 years old, and they had a range of prior experiences with music and comfort with music. I had the volunteer that said to me and during the initial interview, you know what, I don't really like music. But I'm going to do it for the person I'm partnered with because they really like music. Okay, glad you're here. We're going to work with it. In contrast, We had a volunteer who worked as a music DJ and who introduced the Beatles live on concert. So we had a wide range. If we talk about our community participants, they ranged in age from 73 to 99 years old. We interviewed the participants to create a musical profile because not all these individuals are going to like the same music or be familiar with the same music. And as we started to look at who we had in our dyads, we said, whoa, what do we have here? We have definite age differences. We have a 28-year-old matched with someone in their 70s. And we go all the way to 99 years old in our participants. We also knew that we had differences in culture of heritage and culture of location. 2 of our participants were first-generation immigrants to the United States. They grew up other places. And we knew that the majority of our volunteers and our participants had lived elsewhere within the United States as well before coming to Colorado. And it's in the middle of a pandemic. And we need to try and connect these people, okay? So how did we do? Was it feasible? Spoiler, it was feasible. We found that we have some things to talk about here regarding some outcomes from this project. So volunteers reported that music was present in almost none of companionship visits prior to the project. So this was something new. Through the project, we found that music assisted in developing relationships, building relationships, and interpersonal connection. One volunteer reported that the music and the sharing thoughts about music is providing different ways for us to get acquainted. We had volunteers who reported feeling more connected regardless of any generational differences. And we found that music stimulated new topics of conversation during these visits. We also found that community participants reported decreased isolation and increased feelings of social connection with their volunteer following the project. Again, the height of the pandemic when nobody was really in the same room as each other. And as one participant shared here, I just hope you continue it, talking about the Melody Lane Project. There are a lot of people like me who live alone, who have forgotten or associate a lot of troubles. You kind of helped me find some joy. We found that these visits were enjoyable for the volunteers, the participants, and the care partners. They enjoyed learning about each song. They enjoyed learning about each other. The care partners also found these interactions enjoyable. And both the participant and the volunteers reported some visits actually expanded. Well, almost everybody spent double the time we asked them to for these visits. But it also expanded to include additional songs and watching music videos, which were things that we hadn't asked them to do. On this slide, you'll see here we have a participant who actually spontaneously began dancing with their spouse during one of these visits. And throughout our videos that we were reviewing of these companionship visits, we see a lot of smiles. So there was a lot of enjoyment with these visits. At the start of the project, very few of our participants reported engaging with music at a regular basis. And for some of these individuals, they actually rediscovered the personal importance of music. And one dyad actually planned to pool their research incentive gift cards to purchase a CD player so that the community participant who had lots of CDs but had no way to play them could actually listen to music between their visits. We also had a participant who here said, when I want to hear some old oldies that I love, I just throw headphones on and it's great. I love it. This participant had relocated to northern Colorado a year prior to the project. And in our initial interview, their daughter turned to them and said, "Mom, you used to listen to music, you used to engage with music every day. You haven't had music for a year. And so from this project, the granddaughter then came in and programmed an MP3 player so that this participant was able to listen to all the music that she had enjoyed and hadn't been able to see and listen to. So people need to be connected. I believe that music can bring people together. And I believe that the world needs more music. Throughout this project, I was reminded of this quote from Dutch DJ and record producer Armin van Buuren. "Let music connect us, something wonderful will happen." Thank you so much. I want to thank and acknowledge my funders as well. Thank you.